Hello, it's Courtney. I'm back and I thought we'd just do a little story time today. A bit of a get to know me, if you will, because I recognize that I have had quite a journey since I started posting videos on this channel again. When you first saw me, if you've been following my journey since when I started posting videos again after almost a year-long break, all my videos prior to this point have been deleted because I was actually working in a school, like in school settings, and I just didn't want any of my students to accidentally see my videos. Since I started making videos again in January, I started out focusing on knitting and even some knitwear design. I think I actually, I do have a knitwear design pattern. It's available on Ravelry. It's a pretty simple design, and it is my only pattern that's, well, I should say it's my only paid pattern. So I still dabbled in design, even though if you'll go back and watch some of my videos, you'll see that I was knitting with twisted stitches for quite a while. So I can't pretend that I was anything near like a expert on the subject, but I do have some patterns. Hopefully they work for you. Most of them are free. The only one that is paid now, I believe, is maybe I have like a colorwork hat pattern that's paid, and also that top that I made. I did have someone test the top, and I did have someone tech edit the pattern, so it should be good, even though I knit mine with twisted stitches. All that to say, really, wow, looking back at the start of this year, what a ride. What a wild, crazy, fantastic ride. Because after I found out that I was knitting incorrectly, that sparked some changes to the way that I was thinking. And of course I did change the way that I knit, so I learned not to knit with twisted stitches. And I did continue with some of the goals that I made. I think one of the first videos that I posted was my knitting plans for a more economical 2024. And what a long way I've come, because that's really not what I'm focused on anymore. Instead of just having the goal of spending less on my craft and using what I have, which I have continued to do in my knitting throughout this year, I got into crochet, and all of a sudden I needed plush yarn, and I had all these things that I wanted to make, and indeed, pretty soon I had a stockpile of little plushies that needed to find new homes. So it just kind of worked out it was a mindset shift from wanting to just not spend any money or spend very little money. I didn't say I wasn't going to spend any. There are people that have said, I'm only going to knit through stash. But for me and my goals at this year, I just didn't think that was feasible. I didn't think that was what I wanted. So my goal was to spend less, and actually what ended up happening was my relationship to my tools in this craft, my yarn, I guess my yarn would be my tools. It's really taken a change from when I was knitting to when I got into crochet, because I will go through skeins of yarn making these plushies, but at the same time the skeins of yarn are maybe $5.99, even, they range in price. A skein of Bernat blanket will cost me about $10. With that skein, I can make something that I sell for substantially more than $10. I won't say that probably with all the money that I made in markets this season, all the money that I spent on materials and everything, I don't know that I've only broken even, but I will say that by doing markets and by having a place to sell my plushies, my expenses have definitely been reduced. And where I've spent on materials like a table, you know, the table cost about $50. And then I bought another table, or rather my husband helped me with that. So altogether that was $60. Like the tablecloth, $20 from Amazon. You know, these different things, even those little acrylic sign holders that I was using that you may have seen in my third crochet market video, those are about $2.99 at Walmart. Thankfully, you can go back to one of my previous videos. I think it's like market prepping over a weekend is what it's called. And I filmed that in October, and you can see that I was thankfully able to buy some display items for my market display from a neighbor who was having a garage sale. And apparently that's just his passion and his hobby. Like how some people love to paint, some people love crochet. He really loves making these like wooden display like boxes. I don't know if he intends them to be for display or if they're meant to be organizational pieces. However, I loved it. I was so thankful because earlier that morning, even I had been walking around thinking like, man, I just wish I knew someone that was skilled with this kind of handiwork that could, you know, make some boxes that I could buy. And sure enough, there he was a little farther down the walk, and I found him on my way. His wife was actually the person who sold it to us, and she was very, very nice. So it was great to get out and be able to support their hobby and you know, support them, and also get to meet our neighbors as well. So that was really fun, a really productive day, and I'm just so glad and so thankful that these things were able to come together, even to help create like the display that I have for my business. And yeah, I'm really thankful. That was fun. It's editing Courtney here. I am sitting on my kitchen floor. You know, we'll go ahead and address it. I just wanted to let you know that the point of that story was to say that while I may have like basically statistically broken even as far as like profits and expenses related to markets, I just want to say that in my heart, I have not broken even. In my heart, I have gained so much more. And if you think about the functionality of like having the materials for a market, that's something I could continue to do for years to come. Yeah, of course it's more. But like just like spiritually as well, like we've been so blessed by like the people that we've met along the way. So this market season's been really fun. So back to my story. So I found out I was knitting the wrong way towards the end of February, actually when I was test knitting the baking doodle for Pacific Knit Co. I wore that doodle actually for the first time this season today because it's a little nippy outside. So half of that doodle has twisted stitches and the other half does not. And that's okay. That's fine. I still love it. I love that baking doodle so much, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity I had to test knit it. Now though, I'm coming off of this experience of being given this opportunity to test knit something and then find out I've been knitting the wrong way for like almost 3 years, fixing it. And I also fixed it. I was halfway through another garment too, and I fixed it, my twisted stitches about halfway through, so half of it's twisted, half of it's straight. It's fine. It's not really a garment that I intended to wear outside of the house either, so it's all good. It's the Summer Secret Tank by Jessie Maed Designs, and it still came out looking really good. I love that. I actually do love that tank top. I made it with some yarn that I got from Hobby Lobby though, which if you've followed me for a while on this channel, you know that that's a place that I try not to shop, I try not to go to, but if you buy your yarn there and you love it, I totally don't blame you. I could, you know, see myself in the future perhaps buying, like, I don't know. I do enjoy the burnout blanket section at our local Walmart, and even, yeah. Anyways, so I finished up those two projects. I was then chosen to test knit the Courageous hat by Tsin bikee. Yeah, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I was chosen to test knit the Courageous hat by Tsin bikee, and I love it. This is a designer that I've really admired since I got into knitting as well. Probably like ever since I first saw her designs, which was like maybe around a year into my knitting journey. I'd really admired her work, and I was so glad to be able to test knit for her. So I think I finished that in like the first week of March, very early on in March. And so that kind of cleared my needles for me, and I was ready to start something else. I wasn't really sure where I was going to go next on this journey, but it just so happened that we were on spring break from school that month, and I just needed something to do. I needed something to keep us like going every day, to have a little interest, a little something new maybe. And I was watching a Knitty Natty video, and she shared that in her membership they were making these gnomes. So I got to try out some gnomes. I bought the pattern myself, and I made the gnomes. They're from Imagined Landscapes Designs, and I made her like simplest little gnomes. Like there's like a pack of like 3 that you can buy on Ravelry. Of course, I'll link it down below. And I made a bunch of them, and they were well liked in our house. So that gave me a lot of encouragement to just keep trying different things that we liked, different things that brought a lot of joy to myself and to the kiddos in our house. So that was great. And then I made a floral doodle cowl, again just trying to actually I should say I made the floral doodle cowl first and then the gnomes. So yeah, I think actually the floral doodle was like the last doodle that I did, but there was a lot of the similar philosophy there, I think, like almost like the potato chip knitting, the potato chip effect, like once you make one you have to do some more. I think I felt that way a little bit about the doodles and a little bit about the gnomes, but it was all a wonderful experience, a wonderful, for lack of a better word. So I finished knitting my floral doodle, and then I knit like 9 little gnomes. I did something called Gnome a Day Spring Break. So if you go back and watch those videos, you might hear me reference that very same thing. I mean, I guess I'd always been aware of people doing amigurumi crochet, and I discovered an amigurumi pattern designer on Instagram, Crochet Grove, and I was blown away by some of the things that she was able to create. And I was looking at some of her designs and some of her makes, and I just thought I knew what I had to do. So I had actually taken like a lesson in crochet from a local yarn store a couple years before, but I didn't really feel that I could continue with it, and I think that's because I didn't meet my goal of making a granny square. However, I think she really did actually succeed in teaching me how to crochet, and I had discredited that for so long for some reason. And there was like this whole thing of them recommending videos and then me like not wanting to watch the videos. It was weird, but I'm thankful that I finally got over it. I was inspired. I went onto YouTube. I looked up Coco, who I remember was one of the crochet content creators that this yarn store that one of the women there had recommended learning from. And yeah, I saw that she had a tutorial for the single crochet and the magic ring for making amigurumi. Those are like the 2 skills that you really need to know to get started, and also like increase and decrease. But that's basically just increases placing 2 crochet stitches, 2 single crochet in 1 stitch. And decrease is basically just looping the hook through the front loops and pulling through. And I was able to see those demonstrated in the baby jellyfish video by All From Jade. So whenever someone asks me like how they can learn to crochet, I tell them I learned in 3 videos. I learned in a couple of basic tutorials from Coco. So I'd recommend Magic Ring tutorial by Coco, the single crochet tutorial by Bella Coco, and then the baby jellyfish tutorial from Jade. It took me a little bit, like after the first few creations, I realized that I think I made the whale from Jade, and then I was like, and I realized that my stitches weren't quite looking like everyone else's. So I heard that some people were doing the yarn under over technique for amigurumi, which is just basically when you grab the yarn, you yarn under, and then when you loop it around, you yarn over to pull through. It's a little bit of crochet mumbo jumbo. If you watch this channel and don't crochet, I apologize. But if you do crochet and want to learn about it, I encourage you to check out some of the resources that are available to you. Maybe just a quick Google search will land you on some videos on YouTube that can kind of help you out. And I needed to size down my crochet hook. So it did take a little while, but once I figured out what yarns to use with what crochet hook size for me and my personal tension, I feel like that really helped. I mean, I made baby jellyfish, baby octos for a little while, and at markets, those have still sold pretty good for me this year. I went through something in August where I was concerned I didn't have like the right size safety eyes for my crochet creations, so I actually like did a little crochet yarn eye with like a magic ring with 2 single crochet that I closed, and then like basically knotted a little bit of black yarn and like looped through and knotted inside the jellyfish head for like to make the little pupils and also the eyes with the magic ring. So I did that for a few, and I still have one of those with the crochet eyes that hasn't sold. I'd say probably the ones with the safety eyes sold quicker, and that's fine. Generally speaking, those guys sold pretty quickly. Actually, I forgot that I had like 3 baby octos that were like just little ones, like the little guys, and yeah, I sold all of those. I totally forgot about that. And then I had like a 4th too that was a little bigger because I made them with the Premier Parfait Chunky Neons, and or was it Neons? I think so. I think it was called Neons. Wait, no, like Brights. Oh, it was Brights. Yeah, they had Brights first before they came out with Neons this year. Sometimes they do like the little special releases. So it was the Premier Parfait Chunky Brights, which if you haven't used is a little bit more like Bernat Blanket. It's a little more bulky than the Premier Parfait. So the really little guys, when I talk about those, I made those guys with Premier Parfait Chunky. And then the one that I made with the same pattern but came out a little bigger was with the Premier Chunky Brights. Parfait Chunky Brights. All those guys have sold pretty well. I think I stopped wanting to make so much of those though. So I started wanting to work on things that really just expressed my joy that I find in my craft, and especially like maybe my commitment to my craft, because I did start working on things in crochet that take a little longer. So now this conversation is coming full circle to knitting. Can you believe it? I'm actually designing again. So I want to show you guys my first crochet pattern. I'll put some photos up on the screen of the bird. So that's the bird. Slightly better lighting when we went outside to take pictures last week. Wow. I'm, getting back into design with crochet. This design is actually going to be a PDF pattern that will be available on my Etsy. The release date is Monday, November 18th. I believe my Etsy is linked now in my channel page, so you can go and check that out if you so desire. If you'd love to support me in this channel, that's a great way to be able to show some support by purchasing a pattern. So yeah, that'd be great. My heart is so full. I'm so thankful. Thank you guys for being along for the ride. Subscribe if you'd like to continue to follow me on my journey, and until the next one,